Good whatever time period you are at right now. I'm Sabrina Cicilo from Class 10A, and this is Christine Aurelia Ong. Today we'll be talking about the Bible and how there's high evidence pointing that it's fake.
Yes, we'll be talking about whether the contents of the Bible are fake or real. We, though, highly believe that some contents of the Bible have been removed or forged to hide reality, or to bring some sort of advantage to someone with power.
And we have proof too. So let's start with King James's version of the Bible. In 1604, England's King James Charles Stewart the First authorized a new translation of the Bible aimed at setting some thorny religious differences in his kingdom and solidifying his own power. But in seeking to prove his own supremacy, King James Charles Stewart ended up democratizing the Bible instead for his own supremacy.
According to faithfoundoutfact.com, the New American Standard Bible is one of the 5 closest to accurate translations of the real Bible. And closest isn't the actual translation. Closest means that it's not a perfect translation, which makes people question whether their beliefs are true or if it's just fake and some mistake of the wrong translation. And allthat'sinteresting.com states that according to both Jewish and Christian dogma, the books of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy were all written by Moses in about 1300 BC. There are a few issues with this, however, such as the lack of evidence that Moses ever existed.
Now, what does all of this have to do with the community? Are they related in some way?
Well, these past few years, it seems that the religiousness of Christian communities has started to decrease. Take America as an example. Statistics shown by churchandstate.org show that in America, the number of Christians have decreased by 2 million people as of 2019. Moreover, the number of churches decreased by 11%. Meanwhile, people who identify themselves as atheists, agnostics, or nothing in particular rose by 27 million to 67 million people. As we can see, the influence of institutional religion, especially in the West, is starting to steadily fall. Now the question is, why?
It could be due to the inaccuracies in the Bible. I mean, considering that there's a massive plot hole in the existence of the Bible. Take this as an example. The Codex Sinaiticus was the manuscript of the Bible. It is known for being the oldest and surviving full text of the New Testament. It was discovered at the base of St. Sinai in Egypt in the 1840s. The Codex was written in Greek, according to Wikipedia, the codexsinaiticus.org, which, by the way, Egypt's language is not Greek. The Old Testament was written by Moses, who was born in the land of Goshen, which is a location in Egypt. The people of Goshen did not speak Greek. They were Hebrew, and Moses spoke Hebrew as well. And at that time, there was no written language for the Hebrew, and Moses didn't know how to write Greek. So who the hell wrote the Bible?
Yes, as the veracity of the Bible starts to be seen as uncertain, there's no doubt that those who once believed will start to be filled with uncertainty. In 1997, scientists Altemeyer and Hunsberger from the University of Manitoba did a little digging on this matter. Young students who identified themselves as atheists, once Christians, were interviewed regarding the factors that led them to ultimately turning away from religion, specifically Christianity. Data revealed that the questionable accuracy of the Bible's contents led them to doubt their own religion. Moreover, the students also stated that the contradictions of its contents with science also led them to their decision.
But aren't they afraid that Christianity is actually true and they might have sinned? Some of my Christian friends said that the only reason they wanted to be a true Christian is because they fear punishment from God, not because they wanted to be good, but just because they're scared of the punishment they might receive if they do not follow Christianity, despite the fact that it might not even be real.
Relating to the community, we think that this decrease in religiosity might affect the development of a country, specifically the economic development. When talking about religion, what first comes into our minds are the moral standards of that certain religion. Different religions come with different beliefs, and certain guides as to what kind of temperaments and practices a person must heed to. In Christianity, the Bible.
Though many argue that moral values and traits are considered a part of culture and therefore should be excluded from religion, they're overlooking the fact that religion actually greatly contributes to the culture of a community. Traits such as honesty, humility, and compassion are some traits that can be grasped from religious concepts. It is traits like these that contribute to how a country is perceived, which then contributes to their economic development.
An example for this is Aceh. Aceh is known for being very conservative and strict with religious laws, including its ban on alcoholic beverages. The law that implement Aceh are called Hukum Dinayat, roughly meaning Islamic Criminal Code. This law has been implemented because those in charge are fanatics who want other people to practice their beliefs. On January 20, 2018, an Indonesian Christian in Aceh was publicly whipped for selling alcohol. Moreover, the crowds passing by started jeering at the man because public whipping was considered to be the norm. He was one of the 10 people, 8 men and 2 women, whipped after Friday prayers for offenses including pimping, prostitution, and gambling. Although this is decreasing their crime rate, 169 crimes per 100,000 inhabitants, this is killing Aceh's tourist industry, as well as its image of being a tolerant country. A country could be more open or hospitable to strangers. This would attract the attention of foreign travelers, making their country a more appealing tourist destination. Moreover, touristembassy.com states that people often make pilgrims to places of religious importance to seek inner peace, get blessings of deities and gurus, or take part in any religious rituals. Therefore, the faiths, beliefs, and sentiments of people contribute to tourism in holy places.
Some places famous to tourists for their religious significance are Jerusalem in Israel, Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia, Varanasi and Amritsar in India. An increase in tourism could cause a boost in economic growth, as tourist attractions could be constructed, and there would be a source of foreign exchange earnings.
The decrease of religiousness will, secondly, affect politics. Despite the argument that there should be a separation of church and state, religion remains to be something that greatly affects the politics of a country. Traits taken from religious concepts tend to shape the overall culture of a country, and what actions are acceptable to the public. Therefore, we can assume, with great religiousness, the government will also be influenced by moral standards, and thus will not take part in any corrupt activity.
Secondly, the decrease in religion would affect individuals. Culture may influence economic outcomes by affecting such personal traits as honesty, thrift, willingness to work hard, and how conservative the people are. With a decrease in religiousness, crime rates would potentially increase. When comparing Indonesia, where atheism is not the norm, with the US, with 26% of the citizens being atheists, there's a drastic difference in crime rates. Statista.com states that Indonesia's crime rate was at 113 per 100,000 resident population. Meanwhile, in the same year, the US murder rate was 5.0 per 100,000 for a total of 15,498 murders.
Moreover, research shows that religion contributes to the percentage of citizens who complete education. In this section, we'll be tackling the effects of religion on education and individual wealth, particularly in Protestants. Before we start, what is Protestantism? Protestantism is the second largest form of Christianity, originated with the 16th century Reformation, a movement against what its followers perceived to be errors in the Catholic Church.
Dr. Max Weber, a German sociologist from Warwick University, suggests that religion is a factor in the budgetary discrepancies between North and South of Europe. There are plenty of factors too, and they're not easy to disentangle. But even data compiled as recently as 2000 suggests that Protestants generally are educated to a higher level than Catholics. They have a higher probability of going to university and finishing their course, he explains.
Along with Roger Osman, professor of economics at Munich, he analyzed data from 19th century Prussia. The region was split into 450 countries, and around 2/3 of them predominantly Protestant, while the other third Catholic. Religiosity was more prevalent at the time than it is today, he says. And it seems that religion was the main culprit behind education differences. Protestants were more likely to be encouraged to go to school. And this higher level of education translated into jobs like manufacturing and services, rather than agriculture. Accordingly, they earn higher incomes than their Catholic neighbors. Now, why is this so?
Wilson J. Matthew, Associate Professor of Political Science at Southern Methodist University, tells us about the prosperity theology, or sometimes referred to as the prosperity gospel, the health and wealth gospel, the gospel of success, or seed faith. He says the prosperity theology is a religious belief among Protestants that financial blessing and physical well-being are always the will of God for them, and that faith, positive speech, and donations to religious causes will increase one's material wealth. In short, Protestants believe that prosperity is some sort of proof of being chosen by God, which is why they strive more to obtain wealth.
In conclusion, we indeed do believe that the Bible has been altered these past centuries, which will soon start to cause the fall of organized religions in countries that are predominantly Christian or Catholic.
Moreover, this decrease will cause economic development to both rise and fall. There are pros and cons. Pros being that there won't be any hardcore laws of whipping people if they sell alcohol. This will cause the tourist rate to increase, therefore increasing economic growth.
On the other hand, people will start to lose their moral values. There won't be any theologies about how being wealthy means that you're a chosen one. The wealth of individuals would experience a fall, while the crime rate increases. Finally, since there would be a decrease in the need for churches, countries wouldn't have to spend too much money on building churches everywhere.
Thank you for listening. This was the Christine Sabrina Talk Show. Don't forget to smash that like button, like how I smashed your mom.